For me, I always like quality over quantity, but we're living in a quantity-based world, and that's what makes it so difficult to try to figure out the lane because there's just so many ways to deliver stuff.
This channel is for artists who want ownership, not just attention. These apps essentially represent the different pillars of the community so far, and there will be more to come. There's just a few, but there's more than I'm building, right? Like there's more, maybe comic flips could become here, and other people can publish their comics and things like that. But that's something I would love to hear from you, Danny, on kind of like where you think comics are going and why they suck so badly. No, they don't, but like, where do you think it's going? Where do you think the industry's going?
Oh man, that's a tough question. That's so loaded, and I don't know if I'm even equipped to even answer that properly. But from a lot of it's like independent publishing and like digital, but it's hard. The comics industry is in a weird spot right now because some of the biggest printers and distribution people are going bankrupt. So there's a lot of industry shakeup. Like Marvel and DC aren't even near the top sellers. It's all manga and children's properties that are, overseas. There's a lot of independent comic books, so it's hard. Self-publishing is great. It's just the art of sustainability, I think, is the hardest thing, right? That's why I think a lot of big-time people who were popular, like in the 90s and 2000s, have name equity, so they're able to use their older or at least their built-in fan base to get reach, but it's hard. It's hard to say what it's turning into. There's people that just digest content in a variety of different ways, so it's hard to say what the new thing is. It's such a mixed. It's like music. How do you digest your music? Are you on Spotify? People do YouTube playlists at the end of time. You got people digging through crates. You got people who are still doing CDs and they like to buy vinyl presses from big bands because they have the ability to do so. But I think for us, it's going to have to be, I think, just across the board, digital, doing video and art accoutrements as well with physical copies of things. I was going to say content, but I see art as not content, so I'm not going to say that word.
Well, I mean, okay, so the idea is that art is not content, it's equity. And
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right.
It's a bunch of old stuff here, but still fun.
Oh, this is great stuff. Yeah, old is good, man. Old is new. Because as well, Mike used to always tell me this, that nobody knows this. Nobody's seen it.
That's true.
So how is it old? Like,
really old to me.
My brother always tells me this. He tells me the same. So when I was creating this, so I'm still creating, I'm still building it, kind of updating all the time. But my brother would tell me, still to this day, tells me, Justin, look, nobody knows the app. Even that, nobody knows the channel. There are thousands of people that just started using it today, or at least this week. This is very powerful, Hiroyo. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about this idea of music or content being equity. So something that essentially has financial value. How do you think that translates to, let's say, on-chain activities? Because I'll be honest with you, Danny, when I think about comics and I think about Junk, which is such a sick comic, when I got this thing, by the way, again, thank you for the 100th time for sending this to me. I realized, like, man, I forgot how good comics can be, steampunk. I like that a lot. I remember getting the trade paperback and I thought it was really good.
I have that Humberto Ramos, just like a visual shotgun blast to the face of. Yeah. I want to piggyback before you forget, and I know you passed off for Hiroyo, but
sure.
When you're talking about like experience and like just being there, that's probably the answer to a lot about what comic books has become and what is community and lifestyle stuff. Thank you, Hiroyo. There it is. I think if you build it like around teaching people and like helping people, but also being there constantly, if it's like a how-to process, like this is how I do whatever linears and thumbnails, or I attack ballooning and typesetting within creating a comic book. I think teaching and sharing information and progress and community is basically a large portion of how comics are moving forward, is the communal aspect, and then hopefully getting people on board earlier to watch the work in progress, watching people discover the final product, and then afterwards you can give them and share the final product, whether it be that digital copy or the physical copy, or a bundle package and all the concept work and the making of that goes with it. But at least the journey and community, I think, and learning is essentially a large part of how I see my relationship and the equity in comic books and art moving forward. Does that make sense?
For sure. Yeah. What do you think, Hiroyo?
As you know, in Japan, is comic book or cartoon are so still a lot. So you know that is we really learn, or maybe we are educated by the comic books, Akira or whatever, One Piece or whatever. To be honest, I don't read a lot.
Yeah.
I did when I was a kid, but not just only the education is something kind of we can some sense by own inspiration. Someone can see some secret code in it, and then also movie is going on their way. But comic book we can read with own speed. That's a good part to explore or to feel. It's good. And music is type of, I feel like music is time. So when you listen to music, we have to stick on the time.
Right.
Or for example, the song is just for 3 minutes. We have to stay with music to feel the journey with it. But comic book is something like we can create the time by ourselves.
Right.
Kind of an interesting experience for me to read something, to do this. And then on chain, I really wanted to create something music stuff on chain. That's why I studied about, first I wanted to know about what is NFT. So, but still on chain has somehow the limit. But it's comic book, and then we want to create visual and sound package. That is a kind of new thing.
Yep.
Makes sense?
A blended experience.
Yes, right.
Well, yeah, that is the point. So the idea of this ownership beats attention. Now, Danny, you mentioned the idea that you didn't say it like this, but we're inundated with information, with content, more and more videos. I mean, it's hard to keep up. I was speaking with you on the phone the other day, and it sounded like, and I'm not trying to like call you out, but I know the feeling. I felt like this with music. It sounded like you were, kind of defeated in a way, if I could say it like that, or like questioning your life for a moment.
Everyone has. I have those ebbs and flows like any good artist. You just have existential crisis every year or so, or every 6 months, or every 3 months, or every 2 months. But
yeah,
it's hard to keep up, especially when really inane, stupid, seemingly, lower frequency things get so much attention, and you're trying. It's hard. You're dealing with the world. Everyone has a voice, and that's. Selfishly, you can get a little bit bogged down, I guess, by that sometimes. And it's, overthinking and kind of being a part of that is just, it's a detriment to yourself sometimes. And so it can get the best of me. And it's hard to call out when you feel like no one's calling back, I guess. But I think it's kind of normal right now.
Yeah, and especially with all the tools. I mean, Hiroyo and I felt this very much a long time ago with music, with just everything just getting so much easier to make music, and so much less involvement and so many more participants. Coming up in a way, I used to think that there were more fans than artists, too many fans and not enough artists in a way. And with that, in that thinking, the reason why I felt like that was because it was more like people just didn't understand what it meant to create. That's kind of how I viewed it. Not that I needed to like be conjuring up, summoning more competition, for and more noise to kind of sift through. I don't mind the competition, raise the bar, do whatever. As they say, raise the bar, it makes it easier to score. But we're into the whole idea of digital assets. And a lot of it, to me, is because of the ideas of ownership. Now, one of the major reasons why I got into digital assets is because I look back at platforms like MySpace. Okay, so let's just be clear. Like, if you're an artist over 40 and you're navigating digital assets, then stick around, right? Because a lot of us have been creating for so long, and no outlets. Sometimes we used to play in the park on the green box. We used to freestyle, make songs, play video games, connect our Game Boys, like the Game Boy Color, red and blue or pink or whatever color. I had a pink one. I had so many different Game Boy colors at that time. And Game Boy, anyway, the point is atomic purple and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So we used to play Pokemon and use the infrared, whatever connector to transfer things anyway, I forget the names of the games, some great games, Warlocked and all these things. Oh my goodness, guys. So I learned that one day I had no access to my accounts. I did remix accounts, in Daba, and all these random accounts I had, and it's totally gone. All of my subscribers or my followers, the HTML I used to create my accounts is totally gone. And I realized, like, what did I do this for? I don't own my data. I don't own the information. Not that I don't own the songs and the files on my computer, because I do, but I don't own the contacts. I don't own the relationships. And that was when things like NFTs really hit me, because I said, if this thing is going to be stored on a blockchain immutably, the record is there, tamper-proof in a sense, at least whether or not people are still hyped about it, at least they'll still have ownership of the information or access, authority, agency, over the information, and I can do with it what I want. So simply, in a simple way for blockchains, having the wallet addresses, knowing very clearly who owns your asset. It's like having their mailing address, their email. I can have your email address forever, and I can send you emails. Likewise, on chain, I can send you stuff directly to your wallet. So as an example, if somebody had junk, some of the characters of junk in comic book form, in NFT form, or ordinals on Bitcoin, some of the characters, whether it's some of the scrap, whether it's G or bounce or whatever have you, and other characters, different poses in card, like trading card form, right? Things like that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, I think it's
I got excited.
I know, right? I'm super excited. I'm gonna force Danny to get excited about it too.
Yes.
Because the way we see it, I know Hiroyo agrees. Like, the way we see it is, this stuff is cool to have in the traditional world, but where are those people when you want them? Sometimes they're just too busy. They have kids, or they're just studying or school and work and mortgage and fill in the blank with everything else that comes in life, injuries. But when you have someone's email address, they can have it. They don't have to check it. But when you have somebody's wallet address for the blockchain, I don't know, you're sending them value directly. That's usable. It's actionable. They can have it and say, it could be a token. It could be a key, an access key or a card or membership that can give them more abilities to interact on the websites and stuff. So I've got a lot of ideas about this, and essentially, in a simple way, like, it's kind of a no hype thing. Guys, BlendsGroup is eventually going to publish or produce some type of musical, and I've had a vision, like, let's start with YouTube and have like 5 different channels, and all these different creators are coming together to work on the different angles of the channel, whether it be modeling on one side, fashion, and then the other side could be video games, digital media like that. Another side, visual arts, of course, another side, music, and so forth. And of course, digital assets came in.
I believe in physical copies and also the option with a digital accompaniment, but I also think there's an opportunity with motion to try to bring a lot of this stuff to life. And not a big fan of it, but if we can use somehow to get the minutia removed and use AI to somehow create animation, that might not be out the window either. So,
my idea for BlendsGroup from the very beginning, when I came up with this idea, Mr. Blends, Justin Blends, whatever, the whole point was for me to fuse, like, people would say, what are you, a DJ? Are you a producer? Are you a rapper? Are you a writer? This and that. And for me, it was just like, yeah, of course. But at the same time, I wouldn't be one without the other. And I don't know how to be anything but all of them in some way. One of the core ideas was, how do I get this to people? How do I get people to experience it, to see it, to visualize it? And it was pretty much creating a musical. And musicals, just productions, right? Could be movies, could be video games, all sorts of things like that. But a musical was definitely a part of it, because I figured and I feel that life is a musical. That's kind of how I view it in a sense, right? And you have, of course, the ups and downs. There's a conflict. There's, character development, of course, right? But so the name Blends BlendsGroup and all of that just came from the idea of fusing these natural elements together of myself, various ways of engaging with arts and entertainment.